and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of the Peter Show. So in a week's time, we reopen school. We are going back to look into today. We are going to look into matters education and how prepared we are as a country to roll out the new curriculum in as far as the junior secondary school issue is concerned. So to help us understand how well we are prepared, how the government is well prepared to make sure we have a smooth transition, I'm joined by an education economist, a teacher, a businessman, and a politician. But let's get to know his name and what he does. Karibu sana. Introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. Good morning. My name is Peter Mboro. I am the director of Darugo Academy and Marava School. I am a teacher by profession. I'm also doing some businesses, like I'm also running Majahi Greens Resort. So, karibuni.
Thank you very much. So some months back, the president asked a committee that was called the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms, and they came up with a couple of recommendations that are going to be used in the education sector. The recommendations, do you agree with them entirely, or do you feel there are a few things that were left out?
Thank you very much. I think where we are to begin with, we can only talk about the new curriculum, what we are calling competency-based curriculum. And I think this one, as far as I'm concerned, we're coming very long way from the time we came from the colonial education which was offered. And the government of Kenya changed the curriculum then and started what was going up to university. And then recently, around 1985, the late President Moi also came up with a curriculum that was 844. Now, out of what the entire country experiences, then it has now been discovered by all stakeholders that it's important to change the curriculum to what we would think we can actually say that is going to fit our system, because our nation is actually going on and growing further as days go by. So this is where we have landed, and therefore for the government to now kind of try to fit into the new curriculum that has been set by the stakeholders. That is why there was a big debate about which direction we are headed. And basically that meant that we are now starting grade 1 all the way to grade 9. And there was a lot of indications that the grade 7, 8, and 9 are going to be in a different setup, where they had to be domiciled either in primary or be moved to the secondary schools. So the new president, Dr. William Ruto, came up with a very good idea to have all the stakeholders sit down, deliberate, and look a way forward, suggestions from Kenyans, to see the best that can fit our society without affecting either of the parties. That is why he said that the Presidential Working Party go around the entire country collecting views from members of the public, educationists, publishers, and all that. And I'm lucky because I also sit in the Kiambu County Kenya Private Schools Association Committee, and we actually made our own presentation. And just like we were also thinking, most of the Kenyans, which I think I can give up to about 95%, all said that the best way going forward is to have the junior secondary domiciled in the public schools and the private schools at the primary school level. That is unlike what was been decided earlier by the previous system, that all these children, grade 7 up to grade 9, be moved to the secondary schools. So I think it was very right for the president to decide that. And the conclusion has already been made that all those kids that are going for grade 7 will go back to the schools that were. And that is where we are. So I think it was a very good move. We in Kenya Private Schools Association, even all the way from the county level up to the national level, you have even heard our chairman, Mr. Ochome, confirming the same, that that is the most favorable that the Kenyans can go for. Thank you.
The Supreme Court of Kenya declared the CDF unconstitutional. To an extent, MPs didn't build classes in the public schools. What happens to parents who take their kids to public schools?
Actually, even before we talk about NCDF and CDF and going to court and all that, personally, I want to say that in my own understanding, the speed and the rate at which the population in this country has been growing, it is so high that the economy of the country has been left very, very far behind. So the government of the day, previous and the current, finds itself in a fix because it's not very able to actually meet all the demands of our education. So as much as they would want to have free education all through, it's not easy, definitely. If you look at it from all angles, it's actually not easy. So even when we are now going into politics and talking about NCDF and CDF and all that, for sure the government has a big task in order to meet the demands of education in this country. This is actually where we in the private sector come in. And you can see the public-private partnership. It's been allowed by the government, and for sure it's going to help. So I don't want to talk about what they have actually done in the public institutions, but you can actually see from far that they have a big task. It's not easy to build the classrooms within a short time. Even when the Professor Magoha came in and set that ball rolling, I want to tell you for a fact that he did not achieve what he targeted to do. Now we need the labs done, the classrooms done, and in order to keep the children happy, because they have already set their minds for going to high school, others, issues like uniforms and all that also have to come in. So it's definitely not easy. The government has surely a big task, and I want to believe that the private sector also will come in to assist the government to achieve some of these objectives that are set for our nation. It's really not more of a business than it's actually much more to do with what we can do for our country individually, at the private level, and also the public sector, where the government and the ministry also try as much as they can. But you can be sure that labs is not a small matter. To set up a laboratory, to equip it and all that is not a small matter. There is also the home science lab that's also supposed to be done. It's also not a small matter. And all these, whether we are talking about private schools or public schools, it is money that is required, and money is not easy coming these days. The economy is hard. So we'll see what is going to happen. But I want to believe there is going to be a lot of effort from all quarters to make sure that our children are not disappointed. Yeah.
So as a director of Ndarugo schools, are you ready for junior secondary school?
Yes. I want to let you know that just the other day, the government decided that all schools that feel that they are ready are actually inspected by the government. The education office came around, and that was the sub-county director of education, and then the TSC director of education. They went round, particularly here in Juja. I am very much aware they did, because they also came to our school. And what they were looking at, whether a school is set, it has one to begin with, needs to have adequate area, and then it also needs to have a laboratory. It also needs to have home science and all other equipment that's required for that particular direction. And for us here in Ndarugo, we are just lucky because we had set up our institution a long time ago, and we had put up enough building. So we are not going to do any extra building. What we're actually doing is only set up the 2 laboratories in the existing buildings, and we're actually ready. Thank you.
Okay. So final words to parents as they prepare to start a new term that is next week.
Unlike other years, and just like you had said in the introduction, we are now sliding back to our normal calendar, annual calendar, whereby the term falls into 3 months, a break, 3 months, a break. At the end of the year, the candidates take their exams, and then the entire school takes a break for preparing now for a new year. Unlike during COVID time, when we had too many issues, the terms were short, and everybody was like confused during that time. So this time round, we are starting next week, Monday. That is when all the schools, both public and private, are supposed to go back and start the new term. which is going to run to just after March, and then they'll break, and then the calendar will now fall into normal. So for me and my team, we are very ready. We intend to start on Monday, just as we have been instructed by the Ministry of Education, and we are ready. We've already set, our lab is set, and everything is set. I would want to encourage the parents to consider coming to Darugo Academy, to our junior secondary, because number one, over and above the rest of the competitors in the area, we have reasonable area. We are not squeezed. We have separate facilities for all these levels. So you are better placed when you come to the Darugo Academy. The Darugo Academy happens, by the way, to be the oldest private institution in the Witedia ward. We are there since the year 2000. If you look around, you can even see that our environment is very conducive for learning. We've planted trees, and we have a sizable playing ground. We have separate toilets for all our children, all our staff. The office is separate, and everything is quite conducive for a school environment. I know it's a challenge for quite a number of competitors, because some find that they don't have enough space, and therefore, instead of just chasing money, it's also good to consider the welfare of the children, because the children need to learn in an environment that is quite conducive for learning. Because learning is not just about sitting in a classroom. These days, you're actually considering that a learning environment is not actually the four walls. So in Darugo, we are set, and we want to assure you we have the best environment around. Thank you.
My director tells me you are the only institution with a swimming pool around Juja sub-county. Is that true?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's also good to say that we have a very soft heart for our children. All the way since we started our school in 2001, we started taking our learners to institutions for swimming, particularly the Lika Sports Club and Ruiru Sports Club. So along the way, we decided that we put up a swimming pool for our children and also open it for the entire public. So what we do here is that our children who are in Darugo Academy have an opportunity to go and according to the new curriculum, all the way from grade 4, they are taken for swimming lessons at our swimming pool, which is located just about 150 yards from here at Majahi Greens Resort. That is where they do, and we coach them on about swimming. Over and above that, we have already agreed and allowed all the children from all the primary schools around us within reach. They come there. We have set a very nice timetable for them. We have, for example, Highway Academy, Grassland Academy, Nyashava Primary School, Modara Primary School, and all other schools around us. They come, they are free to come. We only need to we sit down with them, and then we agree on the timetable so that all our learners have access to swimming, which is a very important item in the new curriculum. Thank you.
So thank you very much, guys. For any parent looking for a junior secondary school, Darugo Academy is a place to be. See you next time.